Wikipedia was originally created as a neutrally written, free encyclopedia that benefits internet users with its wide array of information on all branches of knowledge. We are talking about the world's largest encyclopedia. Large, and hard, and girthy, and thick, juicy. Sorry, I'm losing my focus here. Guess I should go to Wikipedia again and find out what Wikipedia is. The largest, most comprehensive, accessible, biggest compilation of knowledge in the history of the human race. So is anyone surprised that leftists ruined it to the point where its co-creator became forced to disavow it? Quote, you can't even cite Fox News on socio-political issues. It's just banned now. That means if a controversy does not appear in the mainstream center-left media, then it's not going to appear on Wikipedia. Now you can only rely on the site to give an establishment point of view, rather than the diverse range of opinions it was set up to give. As a few examples, he mentions how Joe Biden's Wikipedia includes very little of the criticism that his opponents have of him. And Hunter Biden's Wikipedia barely mentions the Ukraine scandal, and the little it does mention is extremely biased. On the topic of COVID, many Nobel Prize winners are simply unwelcome on Wikipedia. And let's not forget how the Wikipedia pages for socialism and communism do a great job avoiding the topic of its millions of victims. Whenever it does bring it up, it's done through a written defense, relativizing the whole thing into, oh, but you can't call it genocide though. Technically, it's not. And I myself only recently found out that the utopia I'm living in, Sweden, has been using my tax money, our taxes, to further fund the manipulation of Wikipedia. You know, that's a really interesting thing about living in Sweden. The never-ending surprises of, oops, where did my taxes go? I don't agree with that. This is literally an ad from a state library asking people to come help rewrite Wikipedia articles so they have a LGBT perspective. And we can read between the lines. This isn't just any LGBT perspective, okay? It's not like this is radical libertarian LGBT or conservative LGBT. This is progressive LGBT framing. To take it one step further, many of Sweden's public tax-funded libraries are doing this, along with tax-funded drag queen storytime meetings where children aged 2 to 7 get to sit and be educated about sex stuff. Norm critique, norm creativity, sexual orientations. This is some of the things they will be learning about from Lady Busty and Miss Shameless. Yeah, those names don't really help your cause much, do they? I could make the argument that strippers and sex workers also make out vulnerable minorities. Doesn't mean I want them brainwashing my children to change their own essence in order to suit theirs. If you want to claim that this isn't about sexualizing children, maybe you shouldn't present yourself with hypersexual names. Busty? Shameless? Mom? What's that? I just don't get why these radical leftists always gotta invent ways to push people's buttons. What would be so horribly wrong about just asking Larry and Dave to show up and talk to the kids about being in love? I mean, what's wrong with that? Why can't it be something simple? Why does it have to be provocative and norm critical? I thought you wanted to be included in the same norms as everyone else. Why does it have to go so overboard that it's just pushing pointless boundaries? You can read in a Facebook invite, quote, "Here your imagination and the fairy tale has no norms and no boundaries." End of quote. Is that a good thing? I'm sorry, kids don't even understand basic math, and you want these 4-year-olds to figure out how your 72 different gender identities work? Not even adults understand you when you're going on about binary this and that, so maybe stop trying to shove something down our kids' mouths. Politics, that is. I mean politics, of course. Now, in case there's any radical commies in the audience, don't you even try and misinterpret me as dog whistling. You don't get to do that when you refuse to criticize people who say that they hate all men and want to end whiteness etc. What I'm doing here is not a criticism against gay or trans people. This is a critique on wasting tax money on exposing children to intentionally provocative content. These aren't standard gay couples going around saying, hey, we're Sam and Adam and we love each other. This is Lady Busty. And of course, tax-funded mainstream media misanthropes are calling every concerned parent nothing more than a low-key Trump supporter. This essay got published essentially blaming all of the critical reactions on America. Yeah, that's right. Swedish media is blaming Trump for brainwashing Swedish parents into caring about what their kids are taught. Do I really have to point out why it's inappropriate for a burlesque dancer to read books like Leo, the Boy with the Pussy, to little children? Or the hips of the drag queen go swish, swish, swish? I'm sorry, but you're just putting everyone in an awkward position here. I don't want to see trans people and drag queens get bullied just for existing. But is there a reasonable middle ground where we just don't have to sexualize kids? If your aim is increasing tolerance, then you don't need my tax money for that, and you certainly don't need to do it like this. If you ask me, the main problem here is that the LGBT movement is never really about the LGBT people. The activists are nearly always separate from the people. They are always radical Marxists who don't care about gay people, who always have their own definitions of what inclusion and tolerance means, and that means that the LGBT movement often will happily exclude LGBT people if they don't like socialism. To put it simply, leftists did to Wikipedia what they do to democracy. They infiltrate it to the point where the point becomes null and void. And they will stop at no foul, immoral, dirty trick to manipulate people into believing their vastly superior ideas. And you end up being forced to ask, what is the point of democracy if you're only allowed to think left anyway? That's literally not a state of democracy, but they sure want to make it look like it so nobody gets to question it. And I find this quote from a Swedish left party politician to be very representative. Quote, "We might stand for what people should be thinking, but we have a really hard time getting them to think it." End of quote. Leftists did to Wikipedia what they have done to public schools, what they have done to the media, what they've done to entertainment, TV, Hollywood, and even YouTube itself. Take it over and co-opt it as yet another fleshlight for your own exciting version of the truth. At this rate, you should be grateful so long as you don't discover a Marxist popping out of your toilet when you go to do business after Happy Chili Night. Hey there, comrade, are you sure you're not over-consuming? Why aren't you eating bugs for the climate instead? CannabisLight.se, the finest quality CBD products in Northern Europe. EU-regulated, non-psychoactive hemp oil, as well as buds and muscle recovery cream for the athletes. No THC, 100% legal, and you get 15% off on all products if you use the code ARIBLATTE. I personally endorse this company due to the high quality of their products. I know the people involved, they're very serious, very knowledgeable, and they know what they're doing. Make this your regular CBD provider, and you'll know what you're doing as well. Let's carry on with the video.